so crippling for Sand Kings in particular, right? Your presence feels diminished with a Pugna out there with the Nether Ward, depending on the position you run. They do take the Earth Spirit here in Execration, so a little bit of excitement there as well, looking like our Shanks hero on the 4. What I am keen to see is what Execration does with the Pugna or DP. You have the option to run the mid DP, you have the option to run the offlane DP, you have the option to run mid TA or safe lane TA with the Pugna's 5. So there's still a lot of ways to configure this lineup from Execration. For Lilgun, it's a lot more locked in. You know, Kotl's likely your support along with a Bane. You've got the CK now likely going safe lane here for Sanctity or 423. And that is a really good win condition. CK up against TA in the long run. It can be pretty nice for a CK, but you need a good way to burn through Refraction. That's more on the Sand King. You do have really good solid single target hold here from the Bane, and you should be able to manage it. The CK in this particular case feels really good because your wave clear from Execration doesn't work against Phantasm illusions. Pugna cannot immediately kill off those CK illusions because they are strong illusions. So your shard timing or just life draining the illusion doesn't do much in terms of Execration helping to single out that real CK. So there's a lot of value here in this pick for Lilgun.
Right. There's the Earth Spirit coming out, Jonathan. One of my... I'm always surprised to see this hero popping up, but I think it might be fine. Like with the aggression they're trying to make happen on Execration's end of things, I think the Earth Spirit does kind of fit, but more concerningly, Lilgun do go ahead and take the CK for themselves. That CK, John, I mean, it's looked real strong as of late. I mean, against the Pugna, it can be a little bit rough because you have Decrepify to play defensively with, but overall, CK still pretty busted right now, and even with heroes like the TA coming out for Execration, it does scare me a little bit for them. I think CK just way too strong at the moment. Any kind of picks you can see to make life a little bit easier for Execration, John, or do you think they've already got a draft that can deal with what Lilgun's drafted here?
The CK just feels really strong. I'm not sure if there's any direct way for Execration to counteract that. Normally, you'd get a favorable core matchup. Again, TA could still be flexed onto the mid instead. You get a bigger win condition on your safe lane. Something like a Dusa feels pretty decent against CK once you do get item parity or an item lead on the Dusa. You can kind of manage the matchup. Stone Gaze is not something CK enjoys. So that could be one route to go, but that is extra greedy. That would be like TA mid, maybe something like a Pugna off lane and Dusa safe. That is not the most selfless draft from Execration, and it might be a bit choked up with TA and Dusa farming up. So beyond that, I don't see any picks that can slide in the off lane or mid that really handles it. You know, I guess there's an argument for something like a Shaker. It doesn't feel particularly amazing. I don't think the aspect of CK that you focus on is really the Phantasm illusion spam. It's more like trying to kite him around. And CK is one of the harder heroes to kite around as a melee core because of that reality rift. Right. So the best is probably going greedy with the Dusa. But again, that's just way too greedy for X's draft. So I'm not entirely sure what they'd want there.
They're going to go down the Ember route for now. I think that's perfectly fine. Like, Ember's still quite busted right now. Very, very strong pick to make up. Lilgun, how do they want to respond? They do. I say they require a mid pick of their own, but they have the Sand King if they want to throw that mid. We have been seeing quite a lot of that from various teams, so I wouldn't be very surprised to see the mid Sand King popping up again. We'll see, though. If they want to... I mean, it's a very flexible draft nonetheless, right? Because you can still run Sand King mid, you can run CK off if you want. Very, very flexible indeed.
I think a Sand King mid would say a Pango offlane would work out really well for Lilgun if they want to go that route. Still gives you a good way of clearing out TA in the laning phase. Level 4 spike for Pangolier feels pretty stable up against the Templar Assassin's damage and her threat with Meld. So you could kind of play with that. You still get a Pangolier Kotl lane. And again, the matchup for a Sand King mid versus Ember isn't the worst in the world. It's very manageable for a Sand King to keep playing that farm game, work towards the blink, work towards the travels. So I wouldn't mind that. I actually wouldn't mind the Sand King mid with, say, a Pangolier to close out here for Lilgun on 11, just to have that big playmaking on the backline. They are lacking follow-through on the Epicenter Burrow Strike. No one else has any wide AoE control until maybe you get, say, an Ags on Kotl, not something we commonly see. So Pango could kind of fill in that gap, and does give him a really good way of, again, just winning out every lane, having that Kotl combination on hand that's just outside of the Sand King as well, and just kind of dominate, as we know Lilgun loves to. They love to play very fast games. Pangolier could enable that.
It certainly could. It does seem like a pretty decent pick, but no, they're going to go down the Razor route. So maybe it is going to be the offlane CK, or perhaps even the offlane Razor. Either way, I think it'll be pretty fine. Like you can run CK off, and it still tends to carry the game for you if you need it to. I guess we're looking at an offlane Razor though this time around.
No, that's Sanctity mid Razor. We've got 11 Sand King coming out with Kishka.
Right.
So it's an offlane Sand King with Kotl, Sanctity on the Razor mid. Matchup against Ember is not too bad. So you can kind of manage that, but it's also not the best. Ember has a melee hero matchup against Razor. It's fairly mobile, can try to dodge out a lot of the hits with Sleight of Fist, and can trade back. And mid lane's fairly short, so you don't really get max value from Static Link anyway. Bob's just going to have to focus in on the farm. The big issue I have with Razor is that when you start rotating these heroes from Execration, when you start dragging in Shanks with the Earth Spirit, the Razor is a bit susceptible to those ganks. He doesn't have mobility on hand. You can focus in damage on him with the magic damage coming through from your Earth Spirit. You can't Static Link both heroes. Hefty enough right clicks coming through with the chase down. So I would give Execration a slight edge on early aggression. But as the game scales on, I mean, Lilgun with a Razor, it's definitely a hard counter to that TA, who already has a bit of a nebulous matchup up against the CK.
Yeah.
So early to mid game feels a lot stronger for Execration. Ultra late game, if Lilgun keeps farm parity, does feel really good for Lilgun.
It certainly does, John. It should be a very interesting game, number one, coming out here between these two teams, Execration and Lilgun. Set to get underway for game number one. John, did you have a favorite draft before we do get into it? Is there one draft that tickles your fancy here, John?
It's a bit hard to say. I'd lean towards Lilgun a little bit more, just because I think you can drag the game out with this kind of lineup. You can prevent that ultra hard push from Execration. For Execration, they've got to synchronize a little bit more. And they've got to play around with their push potential with Pugna and DP, pressure these towers, control the map, and prevent that farm up. If Execration can do that, then Lilgun's going to be pushed against the wall. But if they stall out in that mid game, as we see some teams do, that's when things get spicy. Now, that's when Lilgun could start finding that farm to CK, could start building it into that refresh BKB on the Razor, and then suddenly managing those two big cores gets a lot harder for Execration's end.
It absolutely will be. Already a lot of all chat going on, but it's friendly all chat. The team's just kind of giving the good luck have funs, as I'm not sure what 11 and I don't even know what Ace 12 is saying now. What's with the O? Not 100% sure what they're trying to do, but seems like they're trying to put some kind of symbol down, but nevertheless, we'll never understand, Jonathan, you and I.
No. Could ask. I guess I'll give Bob a ping later on and say, Bob, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Wow.
Move on in that.
Just gonna give Bob a casual ping because you've got every pro player added on your Steam's friend list.
No, on Facebook, Mike, on Facebook.
Wow. On Facebook.
On my Steam.
Oh.
Yeah. Facebook.
Not even business, John. Just private. Goodness me.
We're friends, Mike.
Ace 12. He's gonna get jumped on. Shanks. No, he's not gonna go for the roll in. We'll just leave him be. Just want the bounty rune secured here for Execration. It's gonna be a 2-for-2 here. In fact, there is a bit of a chase going on down at bot side. Palos. It's going to be chased down a little bit. 11. Won't have another Burrow Strike to throw out yet, but it does seem like they've done plenty of damage. And Palos, he doesn't actually have any regen on him.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit awkward. I mean, he's flying out, I believe, some tangos now. But definitely going to need that salve a little bit early. This lane matchup as well for the TA doesn't feel the cleanest, Mike. I mean, level 1 Burrow Strikes, not particularly amazing for 11. But level 3 spikes, when it gets really scary, you get Sandstorm and Caustic up, going for a 1-1-1 build. TA's Refraction's not going to help. You're going to have to invest in sentries in this lane here. And that is going to be fairly costly for the side of Execration to try to manage. So I think Lilgun's kind of set for that aggression on the offlane. Again, it's a Kotl Sand King lane as well. Just spam the Chakra onto 11, keep him with the Burrow Strikes, keep him with the Sandstorm. You're not going to have an issue in maintaining that aggression. So we'll see how much Vincenzo is willing to invest in the sentries. He does have one on hand. He does have that salve ready. Palos should be topped up going back into the lane. But you can see that adjustment from Palos already in his laning build. Like Refraction level 1. Normally you tend to see Meld looking for that aggression with a minus armor, double Meld strikeout, but doesn't have that opportunity because he lost way too much of that HP in chase.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a great start for Palos. And, well, as you can see, Refraction's not going to last very long. Palos, you can't get aggressive like that. Luckily for him, Kishka wasn't around. He was too busy focusing on Vincenzo, but that could have been first blood to be drawn straight off the bat, as Vincenzo has not salved up his TA yet. Very busy with Kishka. Kishka, he's more than happy with what he's seeing, because now Palos, he's not going to feel safe. Burrow Strike again. Refraction's going to block it off. Illuminate even going to fly through, and Vincenzo now will salve him up, but oh, that's...
man.
Oh, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's pretty dirty. Lilgun just constantly shoving in the wave. They've got a lot of wave shoving potential with that Burrow Strike, with the Illuminate. They're making it difficult for Palos to CS under tower. And Vincenzo just wastes some resources, so he's going to have to find another top-up here for his core. Again, you're already kind of wanting to save up for sentries. Double sentries ready for Vincenzo, but he's going to need a ton of salves as well if Palos keeps copying these hits.
We'll have a look at the other lanes while we have a chance, John. It does seem like the bot lane is going to be rather aggressive as mid lane. Say, oh, hold that thought, because top lane, Shanks, he's going to be in danger, but still not quite dead. 4-2-3 and Ace 12 not able to finish off the kill, and Shanks will be able to salve up. Suppose while we're here as well, we can talk about the top lane, John. Obviously, you're going to have 4-2-3 and Ace 12 against Tino and Shanks, and or at least for now, it does seem like they are able to get very aggressive here on Lilgun as they chase down Tino a little bit longer. Tino not going to die, but again, against the CK Bane, it's a very dominant top lane here for Lilgun, and it does seem like it's going to be rather hard to contest here for Execration.
Already seeing their damage output without that Chaos Strike in, although...
Yeah, Spirit Siphon's out, 4-2-3, never mind. It should have been difficult to contest, but these damn position ones, John, they don't back off to get salved up.
And sticking around a bit too long there on 4-2-3 does get punished for it. But again, we're seeing the damage output of that CK, and he doesn't have Chaos Strike up. Good rolls from Shanks, though.
Yeah, he's 12 now in danger. Tino, not going to have mana for Crypt Swarm, as now the turnaround is there. 4-2-3 will show up. Tino now going to go down. Shanks, well, he didn't have a salve available, so I can't blame Tino for that one. But it is going to be very back and forth in the side lanes, I see. And while we have a chance, mid lane, Sanctity, Bob going to be going at it. I guess you're about to tell me Sanctity should have the advantage, considering it's Razor versus Ember. As you can see, the static blink going to be quite annoying here for Bob, as all his damage has been effectively taken away. But Sanctity, oh boy, really playing on the edge here on this Razor, almost ends up going down.
Yeah, I think the one thing you have to remember with Razor versus Ember is that if you don't stop the Sleight of Fist, then the damage is still pretty high from Bob.
Bob, a bit too early on the high five, Bob. Sanctity, still getting chased down. Never mind, it's not too early. Bob, he was very confident. He gets it done in the end, and well, now Sanctity ends up dropping his life.
Yeah, this is down to Bob's build. Doesn't get the Flame Guard, goes for the chains every single time he sees that Razor trying to get out of position to maximize those chains, to maximize that static link. He gets punished, and Bob's playing the right way, just playing super aggressive, playing with Sleight of Fist to clear out the creep wave. Again, you might be able to zap quite a fair bit of damage in the laning phase, but Sleight of Fist gives you 120 bonus now at level 3. So you just can't chase down an Ember long enough to get that max link, and it's always going to feel playable enough for Bob as long as he plays with that Sleight of Fist here.
It certainly is. You should have the advantage as the Razor, but like you mentioned, John, you still got damage with that Sleight of Fist available as bot lane. Vincenzo trying to make sure the large camp does not get pulled, but they do at least get half the creep wave. And it's one of the beautiful things about Coddle Pos 4 is you can just zone out the opposing position 5 by spamming that Illuminate when they're trying to intercept for the large camp. I mean, Palos is going to try and take it out himself anyway. I suppose it's one way to do it with the Sire Blades, but things still feel kind of rough here, at least for Lilgun. I thought Palos was going to struggle quite a bit after that terrible start, but he's still top of the CS board and still having a pretty darn good time.
Kind of goes back to Vincenzo just playing tag with Kishka. Can't really trade right clicks there on the Coddle, and Pugna is just as fast as the Coddle. You know, base speed is pretty damn high despite him not having a horse, so you can trade hits. And Kishka is kind of forced to back off every single time. And if Vincenzo can drop that Nether Void, it takes a lot of the bite away from 11's harassment. You know, Caustic drops down in damage, Sandstorm, Burrow Strike doesn't do as much. So you do have really good defensive ways for Vincenzo to just manage this lane here.
Now 11's getting chased down. They've got the Sentry 11. He may have gone too far. He'll try to man-fight Palos, but he can't get it done. Vincenzo, just one more Nether Blast will do it, and he's got it. 11. Going to end up going down on the Sand King, and that's going to allow an even freer lane now for Palos. Again, after such a great start, down to this bot lane for Lilgun. It just hasn't worked out for them.
And that's a concerning sign. We talked about the timings here, Mike. Execration has really strong timings up to 15 minutes. That's when their power spike really starts to build up. 20 minutes, 25 is when it starts to peak. And Lilgun to this kind of start is going to need to stall out a lot longer. Those timings for Execration are lining up. All of their lanes going really well. Tino's lane might be the slowest one, but that is a DP lane. You know, you just want to hit level 6 anyway. Get your Urn, get your Yules, get a BKB, and just play around with the threat of a push. They are going around here for Palos, though.
Gonna try Palos. Pretty big trouble. Sanctity gonna chase him down. Palos won't be able to survive. Sanctity with a nice rotation on the Razor. At least able to slow down the TA for a little bit. That's something they desperately need right now. I mean, you really can't afford to let this TA keep hitting creeps for free. Especially considering how far ahead she's pulled of 423 here on the CK. Speaking of 423, roll will come in from Shanks, but it's off the mark, and they thought there was some vision scouting them out, but there's nothing. He was just good reading there from 423.
Yeah, not quite finding that kill on the CK. They are starting to apply some pressure, but 423 has done a great job of keeping farm parity to an extent. He will start to lag behind a TA. Again, you can play with a Phantasm in the jungle. You don't have too much build up here. A couple of large camp stacks is going to help the cause, and that should lead to that acceleration into the armlet coming through here for 423. So let's see if the pressure starts to come in. Bob does get an early rotation out. Doesn't land the chains, though. So that shouldn't lead to a kill, but they are lining up to get that push. Just a little bit more until Tino hits 6. Then they can commit for that tier 1 tower.
Yeah. Now Vincenzo will take over the mid lane here on the Pugner. Obviously wants to try and secure his own level 6 if he can. It's one of the things when you're playing with an Earth Spirit as well. Like, generally he will want the tomb, so you don't tend to soak too much XP as the Earth Spirit. So, or Execration, they're going to smoke up as 2. Bob and Shanks try and move in onto 423. Remnant's back, just in case Bob needs it, but they are going to move in for the CK roll. It's going to be on the mark here for Shanks. 423, he's quite a tanky boy, so he might be able to actually try and fight back, but he is starting to drop quite low though. Ace 12 now going to intercept, and Shanks, he's the one in danger and does go down mid-roll. He is not going to make it out as 423 is still sticking around. He might have another stun out very soon, but Bob is just going to leave the area. 423 throughout all of that, Jonathan. He does survive.
And that's a great use of the ward here. Coming out from Lilgun, the smoke broke under ward vision. So 423 stood his ground, had people come in to back him up. And with one thing when you gank a CK is, if he does get to right click, one lucky crit with a Chaos Strike does give him a lot of HP back. So he is able to sustain in a lot of those trades. They are clumping up top now.
Yeah, they're going to try into the DP. Tino would really prefer not to die right now. He's already hit that level 6 mark, but won't have the chance to use the Exorcism as Sanctity. The very nice rotation, the Razor. So it seems like Lilgun, they're starting to heat up a little bit this game 1. Maybe more. Bob, 11, gonna go down bot lane. Sanctity, we're trying to fight against Bob, but he'll be happy to just back off once again.
One issue for Lilgun is holding that Ember down. They're gonna have to, commit the Nightmare. Follow-up stun from CK, and the Sand King could do the work. Ideally, you'd have the grip here. Ace 12 still working onto that Fiend's grip. Is soaking mid lane now, but you are finding some big kills across the map from both sides. Getting that kill onto 11. Paolo's still building up uncontested in TA. Number 1 in net worth here, Mike, by a good chunk of change. 1,000 above the CK. That's set to just escalate. Execration now playing with that Exorcism up top. This is when a push does come in from Tino. He doesn't have his team to back him up, but that tower's not too healthy anyway. Not going to take too long to clear it out.
Mid lane, Sanctity on someone. Ace 12 though, he's going to be the one to go down here on the Bane. Execration, they'll rotate both supports in to make that happen. Meanwhile, top lane, Tino, can be very cautious. They have the Phantasm illusions. 423 will make the jump in onto Tino. He'll go for a Siphon though and just will walk away. He's going to be just fine as 423 doesn't want to go too far. Meanwhile, mid lane though, Kishka gonna get slowed up, but they aren't gonna make the jump in completely as Bob now needs his own way out. Ace 12, not level 6 yet. Needs just about one more creep to have the Fiend's grip. Very unfortunate here against Bob. Bob will keep trying to chase down the Coddle. Kishka gets chained up. Illuminate's gonna be there, heal him up a little bit, and Kishka He's barely going to survive. There's now Bob. He hasn't gone too far yet. Sanctity is still linking him up, but he's going to be fine as Sanctity somehow survives. They are not able to take him down. And now the turnaround once again, Lilgun. They're going to try with the Fiend's Grip onto the Earth Spirit, holding him down. Bob, no way to help out. Doesn't bother going for the Chains and the Bane, but rather they'll turn onto Kishka and get a bit of a trade going on the Pos 4s. A very messy engagement in the mid lane.
Not quite the way you'd want to go for either side. Support for the support in the end does kind of feel better for Bob as he does pick that kill up. So he's getting a little bit more on the Ember, at least with the AoE gold coming through. Palos ended up getting the last hit there. You are building up your win condition really nicely in Execration. You're forcing fights away from the TA. You're giving that space out to Palos. Again, you're building up for your 15-minute, 20-minute spike here. Whereas for Lilgun, they are already at the point where 11 does have that blink, but we need to see the presence of the Sand King here, Mike. 11's just been holding bot, farming up, and that can pay off. He is still working towards travels, going for that greedier build into the BKB, but as long as our Sand King doesn't show in, it does feel these engagements can be a bit awkward.
Now they've got Shanks. Shanks, you actually go for the Magnetize and try to fight back because they've got Palos around. Sanctity just melts to the damage. Ace 12 now. They'll try to make a run out. Eventually you're going to have the roll back up on Shanks and he will connect perfectly. They'll be able to pick up another hit for Palos, and boy oh boy, that TA already hitting very, very hard.
The damage is ramping up for Palos, and that's him without the Desolator fully up. Only has one of the Mythful Hammers up. Again, they're giving space out now for the shove in from Tino. No one's been punishing the DP for holding top. Again, you're getting that space out for your Sand King bot, but the question now is it worthwhile? Because you've been sitting on this blink on 11 for some time, and he just hasn't shown up to play with the Epicenter. So they are playing a slower game here in Lilgun. They're opting to use their Razor as the momentum setter without any sort of items up yet. Might be able to get that chase onto Tino.
I'm going to try. He's 12 though. The Bane. He'll be the one to get caught out as now 4-2-3 is going to turn again onto Shanks, and with the amount of damage you have, it's just no problem as now Tino. He's the one in danger. He's gone too far though. He will go for the Siphons out with the Exorcism and try to fight back. He is surviving, but this time 11 does show up in the Sand King. Make sure they take somebody out as Kishka is going to drop to Bob, but Bob, he'll get out, but my god. You cop one stun. It's just so much damage from these Pos 1s. It's 11 now. Going to show up mid lane onto Vincenzo with the Epicenter out. Vincenzo is going to drop it. Perhaps they can turn. 11 against the Desolator of Palos is not going to be able to survive the onslaught. He is dead too.
Yeah, that's a bit too deep coming out, and Bob's not done. He is fairly low on mana now. Respawn is still going to be a little bit longer on that Pugna, so you can't get that free top-up. And we are seeing that Pugna play once again, like just topping up your big core, enabling the Ember to just constantly rotate, constantly force out that aggression. It's been big in enabling Bob to just run around like this. Like, he's just been constantly active past the laning phase, on the hunt. Same thing kind of goes for the Razor, but his presence is limited by his cooldowns. Much longer on the Static Link and on that Eye of the Storm, and is not as nimble. Bob on the hunt, but is under a sentry here.
And he is. Ace 12, he's got the Fiend's Grip. They just need someone to help out with the damage. Ace 12, he'll go for it immediately as 11's going to be there with the follow-up. Just the Sandstorm is going to be enough, but they'll go for the Burrow Strike just in case. That's going to be another great kill here for Lilgun. One of those things is, Bob, you can't play on the edge like that anymore. Not when the Fiend's Grip's up. You're always going to get caught out by Ace 12, and it's not going to be a very good feeling whatsoever.
You have to respect that hold now coming in from Ace 12. Lilgun immediately smoking up right afterwards. No grip, but no Ember. So they know they've got enough with just the Burrow Strike to catch them big, and they might find Palos if he's not careful.
Well, they may. Palos. It's a big, big target. Oh, 11. Bit late on the Burrow Strike. It's going to mean the Illuminate does not connect. Palos, he's going to be fine. In fact, Shanks, he'll be there to try and turn around. Onto the Sand King they go. Tino, he'll show up as well onto the Keeper of the Light. They've got the Sand King still controlled up as 11. Not going to land the Burrow Strike. Now Kishka and the Razor Sanctity is going to drop. Bob gets a triple. 4-2-3. He stuck around. He was coming in to help out. It's all too late though. They're going to drop. And suddenly Roshan, it's going to be open for Palos.
Yeah, not gonna take too long with that Deso up here, Mike. And he's also inching towards that Blink, so this Roche is gonna line up with Second Life and the Blink Dagger for Palos. He's gonna be able to jump in. You've only got Ace 12 around. He knows Roche is happening, but he can't really do much about it. Not sure if he really wants to stick his nose in here.
Well, you saw poor Roshan, John, just then had minus 26 armor against Palos, who could just keep refreshing the build thanks to his Keeper of the Line. Or rather, no, it wasn't even that. He was just meld striping non-stop. Excuse me. I just assumed he had the coddle on his side for a moment there.
He's just being really patient. He held the meld, waited for it to cool down for a bit, got one strike, immediately meld again, and got another strike. So just stacking up the minus armor in a big way. 4k lead now for Execration as Lilgun. They're facing that wall that Execration has at the timing.
Bot lane, knock up in the chains, but is still in massive danger as they'll chase him down. Bob doesn't have any more remnants, but he has one in a second. Shanks, he'll keep up the vision. Bob, oh, he doesn't feel safe to commit. Not with only one remnant available. They won't use it to close the gap, so Kishka is going to be able to survive. It's just so important for Lilgun to be able to drag out this game as long as humanly possible. And their CK just nowhere near ready to be able to fight back against the TA of Palos. Even that, like, you can't rely on anything like a BKB either here for the CK. The TA does not care. Instead, he'll go into the Shadow Blade, and that'll be his defensive item. As now Fiend's Grip has caught out Bob again, but he's going to be fine. They couldn't lock him down. 4-2-3, though, does get him in the end, and Shanks trying to help out, but it wasn't enough. He's gone to boot. Suddenly, Lilgun finding two massive pickoffs down a bot lane, and well, 4-2-3, he was there for all of it.
Yeah, does manage to get a lot in that CK, finishes up his Echo Saber. Does look like he's queuing up the Scotty next. Now, I don't really mind that. Up against a Pugna, up against a DP, you want to mitigate some of the healing plays Vincenzo can get out and kind of soften up Tino. So the stats are going to be really helpful as well for 4-2-3. The issue is now the farming pace. Despite those kills, Mike, he's still about 3k behind Palos. It's just the TA farms way too fast, and those item timings are still lining up for Palos. Could go for the BKB next with the disassembly play on the Dragonlance, and that's going to force that choice out from the side of Lilgun. Do you want to grip up the TA with BKB up, or would you rather jump the Ember? And if both of them are in the middle of the fight, both heroes are high priorities for that control.
Palos. Shark's not going to land again. 11. Looks like he just wanted the creep wave, but my god, the damage! Palos just rips him a new one. Kishka, well, he's going to keep trying to run and we'll make it out, but my god. 11. Wait, to be fair, John, he has nothing like a Vanguard. So that physical damage output from Palos, it's just going all the way through.
Yeah, it's just full damage coming through. One small missed spell and you get punished for it severely here from the side of Execration. Lilgun don't really have good defensive options without the Sand King. The Exorcism is popped by Tino. Not going to take too long to melt this. Tier 2 tower should give them the outpost. Roshan, again, they just took it. So no pressure onto the next Roche. They secured themselves a really nice junk to farm in. Drag away Lilgun from trying to play in this side of the map. They are already playing down bot, looking for that build up. Sanctity has his BKB up. 9-second charge ready here, Mike. Working onto maybe just a casual plate mail. Could be the Lotus Orb. Could be the Shivas. Next, we're in AC. Not the most uncommon on our Razors. Still looking at that Scotty build up as well for 4-2-3. So again, when you look at Lilgun's draft, they do want to take it slower, as you mentioned. And they need so much more time to farm. Execration's not giving them that room. They've just applied the map pressure, constantly pushing with the Exo, constantly pushing with their little Pugna as well with the Nether Blast. And for Lilgun, they have to commit hard when they want to stop those pushes.
Kishka. He's 12, going to try and move up. Vincenzo. No, he's going to be alright. Execration. Still in a very good position here with Palos. I suppose once his BKB is up is when you really want to start moving as a unit. He'll just go ahead and start working towards that. Because you've still got a minute on the Aegis, but do they get to use it? Maybe top lane. They know Kishka's around somewhere. Kishka. Slowed up, Tino. He'll be around. Silence. Will connect him. Well, once you see the Meld Strike flying out, you know there's no chance of survival. Kishka's going to drop. On the bright side, though, you've got BKB now up on the CK, so... Well, 4-2-3, he does have some defense.
Yeah, he got the grip off as well.
With Bob again? will get stunned up. Didn't see how long it was, but it turns out it was long enough. Bob gives the tip over. Ace 12, he's been very good in this Spain.
Yeah, Bob showing his displeasure. You know, they are good friends. I think, again, if they toured Mongolia, which I think they might have, I think they went to Mongolia and Thailand, they got to hang out with Lilgun, sure, and got to meet up. And again, that's maybe where the friendship comes from. Good to see that both sides are still in high spirits. You know, Lilgun still finding some openings just from positioning themselves well. The lead from Execration isn't the most massive. It's a 3k advantage, all hanging off of Palos. Everyone else has been sacked to let that happen. Tino, Bob, their build-up has been slowed down immensely. Whereas for Lilgun, the farm distribution is a little bit more equal between 43, 11, and to a certain extent, Sanctity. The items are starting to rack up. The next big item timing really is probably the Scotty here for 423, and perhaps some more armor, or at least the Heaven's Halberd out for Sanctity. Once you have those tools up, suddenly that win condition Palos has a harder time to leverage that damage here.
Execration. They'll move down towards the bot lane. Ace 12 and 423, they are around. Obviously, the CK is the primary target of Ace 12. He's going to break the smoke. They'll burst him down immediately. 423. He's forced the BKB and TP out. Now, Ace 12, he does a great job of just tanking the gank there for 423. Make sure he doesn't get caught by a rogue stun. Palos, he's going to find a beautiful double damage rune at the top lane now. Happy days for the TA. Palos, he definitely wants a bit more. The BKB up. There's no fear in the world here for this TA. Shanks trying to catch out 11. Not going to quite be on the mark, but he has found Kishka. Does eventually roll onto the Sankey. But do they have the damage? Silence is there. They've got 11 trapped up, and he's just gone. Sanctity, well, he'll try to run, and he will make it out. Ace 12. Not sure what the idea was there, Ace 12. Tino going a bit too far himself, but is going to be held up by Vincenzo. So he'll be alright.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Suddenly Lilgun losing a few too many bodies, I think. Luckily for them, Execration don't seem ready to go after a mid-tier 2 tower yet. They won't go after any objectives, but I'm sure they're very satisfied with the way this game's going so far.
They're finding some big kills, they're applying that map pressure. Lilgun's just not able to farm up as much as they'd want to. Bot jungle's ward up really nicely from Execration's end. They can always watch the farming patterns of Lilgun, knowing that they'll be playing on this side of the map. And for Execration now, you know, Aegis is gone. We'll see that respawn in about half a minute, how long it'll be. And they're in a good position to just wait for next rush. No rush here for Execration, understanding that Lilgun still needs a way more time to build up. Probably just wait for Roshan, go from there. But Lilgun, not going to wait around here. They do go for a smoke play, and we'll see if they find that angle.
Yeah, 4-on-4 smoke though. Kishka, he's going to be around to break the smoke of Palos, but that probably means he's getting bursted down immediately as 11 is going to try and show up, but a great silence out from Shanks. 423, he'll be there. They'll try onto Shanks. Where's the help? It's not coming in. Palos, he did not want to initiate his Tino. He'll make the jump in, and now they go for it, but it might be too late. Tino, he cannot tank the 423 CK. They all need to back out of there. They might even lose Bob. Tino now, he's just going to get dived. Epicenter not going to be able to fly out, but it won't matter. Buybacks are coming in, but Tino's already gone. They're still going to try and fight. 423, trying for the TP out is not going to make it. They even found Sanctity now on that Razor. Sanctity, he'll try to run, but eventually I think they'll just catch him. And they do. Palos will pick up the kill, and John, what the hell am I watching?
I have no clue. BKB popped from Paulus. It looked like he was in range of the CK. They could have forced the fight right there. Instead, they back off. It was a coordinated retreat from Execration, so it looks like the team call was made. And then they regroup and manage to find that punishment for the overextension of Lilgun. Not the cleanest from either side, but Execration does come out on top despite having to expend a couple of buybacks there, evening it out in that trade. And you are having an issue now with Palos having that full Daedalus up, so his damage output is skyrocketing. Roshan, very quick respawn here as well, mate.
Well, they've got the Pugna. Vincenzo going to force staff away from the epicenter as Palos will happily force the fight. Kishka already just melting as they got Ace 12. One shot will do it from Palos. Kishka still trying to run, but he's going to drop to Bob, and now they've got 11. Oh my god, the damage. I mean, he just side blades off the neutrals. He is screw it. I don't need to be near the Sand King.
And he's looking a bit paperish right now, Mike. No BKB, not the highest HP in the world in Sand King, with just only one bracer and a Wraith Band for some armor. Not enough to save. Would he exorcist him back up? Gonna start onto that high ground. They are aware Roche is up. They've got trap vision, but they know they've got a big advantage here now on Execration Sand. They can push real quick. Why not just stick for that push?
No, I certainly agree with you there, John. They'll move in onto the mid racks. Exorcism's going to make very short work of it. Top racks we go. There are outer objectives down at the bot lane, so it's not like the game's going to be over here for Lilgun. But they are going to be 2 racks down, unless they can find a way to fight, but it's not looking too good for them. They do get a Nightmare on Bob. Maybe they can go for a Fiend's Grip. Ace 12, he will commit, but who's got the damage up? What's to take him down? Shanks, he'll get the silence off. Ace 12, he'll be chased down. Meanwhile, Palos, he's just going to BKB TP out. They've sapped away all his damage. They'll leave Tino behind. Everyone else, though, seems to be able to get out just fine. In Execration, they still got the 2 racks as they wanted, so they'll be happy.
They leave behind the range racks top, not the biggest deal in the world. That lane is still naturally going to shove out. Lilgun have a slight opening here. Roshan is up, but they aren't fully aware. They will go for the smoke play that might have been spotted by the trap and 11 standing on it. So, reach pop here. Palos going to be safe for now.
It's a dangerous smoke, though, John. Vincenzo, he is going to drop. It doesn't seem like they want to go in here with Bob. In fact, speaking of the devil, Bob is going to have to rim him back towards the Dire base. All the way back in. But they TP, they want to chase him. Ace 12, he's on the hunt. Ward's down, he's got the vision there for a moment, but he doesn't have Fiend's Grip. He just wants to make sure he knows where Bob's gone. Korea's going to go down, Bob. How are you going to juke out of this one? Back remnant towards the north, but he's going to get nightmared up. That might just be his death to come. The epicenter being channeled. They've got the control. Ace 12, he's been such a menace here to Bob this game. As Shanks was around to try and help out, but he'll be forced to BKB TP away. A very nice skill there for Lilgun.
Yeah, pretty big take in pinning down Bob. But the big issue for Lilgun here is that you don't find Palos. He's the real win condition. Killing off Bob is nice. He's not the highest net worth hero. Does give you a good injection of gold. But off the back of that kill, they still can't contest Roche. They know the TA is still around to do some damage. You still have some jump capability on that Earth Spirit, so you're not able to fully go for an objective, and you do miss out here for Lilgun. You should be able to just respawn on Bob, contest Roche, or look for a fight before Roshan, and just again solidify your position on the high ground, take the last outer tower, clear up the remaining racks, go for the tier 4s if things go well. Lilgun, they've got that Shiva's up and running on Sanctity. A little bit more presence out from our Razor. Scotty's almost done in 423. His courier's down though, and point booster is still about 800 gold away. Scotty is going to be nice. This is a strange one. We tend to see hearts on CK for the stats rather than something like the Scotty. It does make sense again in the context of the fact that the Pugnal life drain is a massive issue. Whether or not that's going to be enough damage coming through from 423, considering it's way less strength to play with your Chaos Strike, is a different question. It does feel like some of that burst is lacking on Lilgun. It does take him a little bit more time to lock onto a target unless they get those chain stunts off.
There might be a smoke to come, but there is a 5-man smoke immediately popped here by Execration. Where are they headed though? Oh, they'll try to wrap around through the north, that Dire jungle. Execration for a nice initiation, but Lilgun, they're already set up. They seem to know it's coming. Execration, they're still going to wrap around the long way through the north of the jungle. They could sneak up. Ace 12, again prepping for this, but they've got the ward down. That'll be the Bane gone. Bob, though, he gets caught out in the Ember. He has to buy back and come back into the team fight. In the meantime, though, Palos, he is just shredding them. 4-2-3. He's going for the fight, but he can't tank it. It's too much damage. Palos, he's just hitting way too hard. Kishka's going to be the only survivor, and that's for now. Palos, he'll go for the chase up. Blink up in 5. Trap's giving the vision. Kishka, I don't think he's going to make it out of this. There's Palos. Kishka. Twinkle toes from Kishka. He has made it out.
Dire's top barracks.
Yeah, did you manage to... Did you manage to escape? Congrats coming through from Palos. Roshan is still being taken by Execration despite not having that TA. Palos will join suite. Anyway, big issue for Lilgun, Mike. I think you pick this Razor to counteract Palos, but Palos has positioned himself well enough that our Razor's been forced to static link everyone else. You know, it's mainly been Tino, every now and again onto Bob, but very rarely on the TA. And every time they do static link on the TA, Execration needs to back off. If they don't, Execration's happy enough to commit. Like, you kill off Bob, doesn't matter. Because, again, Bob doesn't really do much beyond just being a nuisance to the backline. And if he does die at the cost of a couple big spells, that gives that opening for Paulus to clean up everyone else instead. So Lilgun has to be very aware of how much to commit onto that one hero. They've got to find a way to split that control up onto the two conditions. Kill off the Ember and then find a way to lock down Palos. You want, it starts to feel like you want the grip on that TA instead of anyone else. Easier said than done. Execration has been playing really well with the positioning on their cores and just not giving those openings to Lilgun to execute on.
Oh, they certainly haven't, Jonathan. They certainly have not. Palos going into that bottom tier 2 tower now. There's going to be a 5-man smoke from Lilgun. They're going to try and wrap around. Through the triangle they go, but it's still going to be a very difficult team fight for them. You've got to be able to control Palos. There's no other option. Bob, he'll move in. He'll break the smoke in a great setup already. Do they want the fight? Execration. They'll just hold the high ground for now. Ace 12, he wants to get back, but Bob, he's found the target he really wants. He'll take him down, no problem, as now they can really go for the fight. Roll in after 11, he'll be fine for now. Bob trying to chase the CK, instead they'll go after the SK. Sand King still trying to make a way out, but he's going to be silenced up, and he has no chance of surviving through the onslaught. So Execration will move in. They might just go straight for tier 4 towers. They've got Kishka. Roll is perfect. Shanks on target. Kishka still trying to run Batino. He's got the damage onto Sanctity. The Razor not going to be able to survive either. Buyback's committed. Burrow strike in. Epicenter is being committed as well, but Palos, he pops the BKB back on Sanctity. The Razor gonna back off, but has stolen away quite a bit of damage. Is the Tino instead. Maybe they can defend. Vincenzo, he'll creep up, just try to run, but the rest of his team is doing the exact same. They are not gonna help him out. So Lilgun, it costs them 4 buybacks, but they will defend high ground. But next time they come up, it's gonna be a very, very hard situation.
Oh yeah, it's going to be difficult to try and hold. Your 2 racks is down fully now. No progress made in that last lane, as Execration was going for the jugular, but I think they've got the conditions lined up. No buybacks after these next few fights, and if they just find the angle once more, going to be able to clean up. Really clutch Lotus Orb use onto Palos. He didn't lose as much damage there, Mike.
Although, oh, Ace 12. Oh, you need that Bane. He's gone. Scan out, they know Sanctity's in the tree line somewhere. Bob, he'll go to the north and does find the CK. 423, he'll be ignored for now. The supports are the ones being focused. Shanks, meanwhile, back on the Sand King. They are trying to burst him down to Sanctity. He's going to try and help out, but there goes 11. Palos, he's going to man fight again. He could not give a crap. 423, though, going for the man fight back, and Palos, he's going to go down. They've got the damage. Bob, he was too busy chasing Kishka.
Okay, I'm just very confused about the decision making coming through from Execration. This time around, Static Link came off clean, no Lotus Orb to give some of that damage back onto Palos, so he was definitely at a big disadvantage. Doesn't manage to get BKB use. That split up fight from Execration did find the supports, but didn't manage to find some of those bigger cores. It is still 3 versus 2, so Lilgun can't make too much progress on the map, but they are certainly stalling this game out. Execration still have a lot of power behind them. They have to be weary of that scaling up here from Lilgun. If you get additional armor, additional HP on 423, the CK starts to become a massive issue. It's not something the TA can just instantly burst down, even with the Daedalus up. The CK can't sustain himself in these prolonged fights if he's not killed off fast enough as well with that Chaos Strike. And again, we're just seeing the effect of the Static Link coming through from Sanctity if he finds the proper target. Palos cannot fight into it, and you have to be very on point with your Lotus Orb usage to ensure that Palos isn't losing as much damage as he should. So Execration will have to see if they start to tie up some of their engagements here, as they are giving Lilgun some openings. Still a 17k lead, still a tough road for Lilgun, but as long as they stay in this game, find those kills, the hope is still alive.
Sanctity. What lane? Dino. He'll go for the fight. He'll pop the Exorcism. He won't mind the damage being sapped away. Sanctity's the one who has to BKB up and TP. Maybe they're happy with the exorcism being expended. Maybe that's what it's all about. It's Execration. They're not in a position to try and fight right now. In fact, Tino, he's going to get Nightmare up. Bob, he'll see the Bane, so he'll rush in, but he's not going to find his target. In fact, now 4-2-3, he'll go for the fight. Almost taking down Bob immediately, and now the Fiend's Grip gonna hold down the Earth Spirit. Shanks might be gone. Epicenter out. They have not got the Earth Spirit yet. Shanks will survive a little bit longer, but there's your Rift out. They do take him down. Execration, maybe going a bit too far, are paying for it heavily now, and they've got to be very careful. This game is not over yet.
They've still got that massive advantage, but they have to respect the output from Lilgun. Again, you're reaching this critical mass point now on your CK. Going for the overwhelming blink. Courier is still down for a bit longer. But again, that's additional HP, that's additional base damage to play with your Chaos Strike. His hits are getting fatter, his lifesteal off the crit is getting higher as well, with more damage coming through. So bursting through 4-3 isn't as simple as it once was. You're also reaching that point on Sanctity to hit the refresh up. So double Eye of the Storm, double Static Link, and he's just got a lot of ways to handle that TA of Palos, unless he gets that Lotus Orb on it in a timely manner. So we'll see how much more Execration again does. They do have the initiative here. They've got the 19k lead, they've got map control underhand, but Lilgun's been doing a great job since that punishment on the high ground. They might be able to stall long enough for Roshan. Now that's a little bit awkward for Lilgun, considering they don't have the vision game on that Roche pit. But if they do manage to take that enclosed fight with their Sand King and, you know, really use the max extent of their static link on the Razor with all of them trapped in, that could be the turning point for Lilgun on that next objective.
Yeah. I mean, they've got time now. Like Palos, he's queued up a butterfly, so he's not looking to fight anytime soon, I don't think. It's all going to be about Roshan, and he should have the butterfly up the next time they go high ground, but that is going to give the time for Lilgun to try and get that blink up. Well, 4-2-3, he might even go for the AC first if he really feels that he needs it. It certainly would help for the rest of his team and himself. Ace 12 in position to break any smokes incoming. He's going to back away from Execration, who were making their way over. Refresher Orb now also available on Sanctity, so that's going to be even more annoying for Palos now on that TA. Execration, it seems like they are drawing a line towards the Dire jungle on the left side. Smoke up. They haven't got any vision. This could be a bit of a rough team fight to try and start. 11, he does show down at the bot lane with the Sandstorm, but that's not going to be such an easy target to chase down. Roshan will be up in about a minute. So Execration, they might just take over the triangle here in the Dire end of things and just kind of hold this area for a while. It's like Lilgun aren't interested in the fight anyway. They are going to back towards their own base and just hold that. So Execration, they should have a chance to try and snipe this bottom tier 2 tower and maybe just go for Roshan straight after. Only issue being, John, they don't have a trap in the Roshan pit, so they can't actually see when it respawns.
Yeah, kind of not having enough traps up does miss out on that opportunity, but you do have mobility coming through from Bob. He's got the Ags up. He can just throw remnants around, maybe quickly check the team if he so wishes. Inside of Execration, still holding onto that area, slowly sieging onto that tier 2, not wanting to overcommit, now respecting the output of Lilgun. Will eventually find it without committing too much. So that should clear the path onto Mega Creeps and possibly into the end game here for Execration with Lilgun playing cautiously. They've got the full AC up on 423. He's got a lot of armor to play with. As you mentioned, refresh up on Sanctity, also a very big deal with quad static links, with his level 25 also coming out at this time, and double Eye of the Storm. Still, Execration going to smoke for that tier 3.
They're going to try. Execration is out, so they're not going to go for a surprise kind of initiation here. Tino, the front line for his team. Got to try and react to Tino somehow. Sanctity, he'll move in with the link up, but he's having his own damage sapped away as they do jump in. Tino, he's dropping low and he's gone. Nice start for Lilgun. Execration, I don't think they stick around any longer. They're going to back off, or do they? Kishka, he's going to drop to Palos. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Definitely in the favor of Lilgun, but the jump is in. They've got Sanctity. That's the Razor gone. 4-2-3. He's still going to go for the fight on Palos, but this time he's got the damage. Ace 12, he'll go for a Fiend's Grip. Bob, he's out of mana, but the life drain comes out. He is not dropping, and now Remnant's forward. They'll TP back and go for a reset, but there's no buybacks on Lilgun. This game should be over. Palos will take down Ace 12. Ace 12 will have a laugh to himself, but the GG is going to be called. They know they can't defend any longer.
Really good kind of comeback for Lilgun for a moment, getting a really solid high ground defense, finding some big optimization. But they overstepped. That little step out from Kisha just led to that snowball effect in that last engagement and had the entire team out of position. You know, they weren't holding high ground anymore. They were just kind of standing around below their base. And Execration managed to punch that with the mobility they had on the Earth Spirit, on the Ember, even on the TA with a Swift Link Up. Lilgun, though, we are seeing their prowess. It kind of goes back to what we said earlier on in this game, like where Execration's draft was geared for that 15 to 20 minute mark. They hit that spike really fast. They shut down the map, but then Lilgun finds an opening and they build up really well on the CK. You started to see the damage output come through from 423. He was hitting like a truck. It's just that, again, the last fight wasn't quite where Lilgun would have wanted to take it, and Execration managed to find that punishment. So a very close game one between both teams. I think, again, much closer than a lot of people would have expected. I think a lot of people would favor either Lilgun or Execration much more heavily, not expecting as much of a close game, especially with Execration banning out those Lilgun specials. But Lilgun still makes it a tough match for Execration. I'm keen to see what Lilgun can bring out in that game too.
Well, so do I, John. We are going to head off to a very short break, and right after that break, we'll have the pleasure of seeing the Game 2 draft here between Execration and, of course, Lilgun. We'll see you then.